keep the YouTube videos coming. They're gold.
The women's 5K, we have a great race on hand.
And it's presented by Run Gooder. Humble brag by them. They're a two-time Runner's World Gear of the Year winning brand. Quick disclaimer, they can't make any guarantees that you're going to get faster, but they will promise you that you're going to look gooder. No slip, no bounce while running. Some of my favorite pair of sunglasses. So the race is sponsored by Run Gooder. They're giving you guys a stellar deal, and the promo code is just apt for this occasion. It's use code Texas Heat to get any two of their polarized award-winning OG sunglasses for just $20. That's Texas Heat if you visit gooder.com.
All right, real quick to run through the names. Erica Kemp, Rachel Schneider, Weenie Kaladi, Sharon Lokiti, Josette Norris, Emily Lapari, Julie Ann Solly, Maggie Montoya, Emma Coburn, Laura Galvan, Eleanor Purrier, Eleanor Fulton, and Ali Cash. The Olympic trials qualifying time is 15:20. The Olympic standard is 15:10.
Now, again, we've been billing this as the rematch from the Ocean Breeze 2 mile, where we saw El Purrier break the Jenny Simpson's American record, but Emma Coburn also got under that previous mark. So the two of them, really strong running. This is a rematch. Let's see how they do in a 5K. For Emma, this is her first 5K. She's an 8-time steeplechase national champion. She's run 4:03 for 1,500, 4:23 for the mile, 9:02 for the steeplechase, but she's never run an outdoor 5K. So let's see what she's got in store. El Purrier, she's run 14:58 at the World Championships in Doha. That's where her PR is from. And she was third. In order to get there, she was third at the 2019 U.S. Championships. So she's got experience making teams, and now they're right up in the front.
And we do have two separate pace lights on the track. I think that we are going to see an assault on sub 15, hopefully by Ellie Purrier, and I know Emma Coburn was also planning on going quick with her. And then there is a second group that is thinking more about that Olympic trials qualifying time. The Olympic standard was 15:10, that's 72.8 per lap. So if you think about it, we're going to be seeing some sub-72s here along the way, and they were in very, very good hands up front with two team boss gals leading the way. That's Maddie and Corey McGee, both doubling back this race to help out.
Sarah Vaughn right behind them.
So they've brought in plenty of athletes to help bring this pace along. Ellie Purrier is in 4th place. We're going to keep an eye on her as they come through 1K in 2:59.
And I believe is that Emily Lapari in between the two of them?
Emily Lapari, the former Long Island Mile champion, is
pride of Roslyn.
Yes, one step ahead of Emma Coburn, and behind her, Rachel Schneider, and then Weenie Kaladi.
Weenie Kaladi, very, very inspiring story. She was a guest on the City Smack podcast back in December. I would go and check out that episode, plugging my own podcast on the broadcast, of course. But she competed for Eritrea at the 2014 World Junior Championships, decided not to get back on the plane back home, chasing the American dream, stayed here, went through the high school system out in Virginia, went to New Mexico, was a 2-time NCAA champion, racked up a bunch of All-American honors, and now has dreams of competing for the United States. She's in the process of trying to work that citizenship out before the 2021 U.S. Olympic trials. So it's just kind of a wait-and-see game for her, but she's up there in the mix. Had a great performance at the Sound Running track meet last December.
They are fully strung out, which is what you would expect at a hot pace like this. As they approach 9 laps to go, they still have the 2 rabbits, Maddie and Corey, and I guess Sarah is also a 3rd rabbit. So all hands on deck. These girls are in good hands. Chris, is there anyone that you have your eyes on as a potential upset tonight?
I would say Rachel Schneider would probably be the upset because she just, came off that massive payday at Camel City where she won the mile and the 3K within, I guess it was like an hour or so, netted $12,000 worth of prize money.
Yeah, Chris, that's actually something I want to talk to a little bit about as we come through the mile in 4:50. So, 72 is exactly what we're more or less looking for. Chris, an interesting aspect of these early season races is prize money. You know, in the men's 1500, we did have $750 in both the men's and women's side, thanks to the Beer Mile podcast. But a lot of these early season races do not have prize money. For a lot of these athletes, this part of the season is about running fast and not necessarily about making money. Now, within their contracts, there would be various time bonuses.
Right.
Oftentimes, you would get time bonuses for things like the Olympic trials qualifying time, the Olympic standard, maybe sub-15, American records. But at this point in the year, it's a little bit different. I think might be surprising for a lot of fans watching at home to know that they're actually probably operating at a net loss, the majority of these athletes, and paying for their flights and coming here. Many contracts would have that support for travel built in, but for those athletes that don't necessarily have a contract, they're not even here to to make money. They're here to run because they believe in their ability to get the most out of themselves on a night like tonight.
Right, and not necessarily hitting, Olympic standards or Olympic trial standards, but, we've been seeing it in the last few days. A lot of people are coming away from this meet with some nice, PRs and little chucks.
So Rachel Schneider has the Olympic standard in, I believe, the 1500, the 5K, and the 10K. We saw her 10K debut earlier in the year.
Yeah, she won the 10K at the track meet in 31:09. She ran 4:11.73 for the 1500 meters indoors last year before things shut down. But her PR is 4:30 for the mile and 8:57 for the 3K. So she's got speed. I mean, she might have some of the best range on the U.S. women's distance running scene.
Yeah, and I think Rachel had a very successful career at Georgetown, but she's an athlete. When she turned professional, now running for Under Armour, has just gotten better and better. And I've heard some of the workouts that she does up in Flagstaff.
Come on, you can't just tell that. You got to give us a little details. What can you spill? Give us a little bit.
I can say that the general theme is that she does an incredible amount of volume on many workouts, often AM and PM. It's something that I think has become a very popular thing for many athletes to do, is to really load up on single days of training. You train hard and then you recover harder. And Rachel's been known to do some really incredible AM PM doubles in the hills of Flagstaff. And that's, we said it yesterday, I'll say it again, fitness is fitness. And her ability to run a 1500 translates apparently to her ability to run a 10K, and I'm confident in the 5K as well.
Now up in front after the Pacers have dropped, it is now El Purrier. So she ran 9:10.28 for the 2-mile American record, and along the way clocked a 3K PR of 8:36. In the weird year that was last year, she ran 2:02 for the 800, 4 flat for a 1500 at a little low-key time trial out in Wellesley, Massachusetts. And the year before that was really, really when it kind of, I remember that's when you started to hear the whispers of, like, stop sleeping on Elle. She was third at the U.S. Championships, nearly matched her PR in the 5K semis at Worlds, came back 3 days later, and she ran 14:58, which was 14:58 gets you 11th at the 2019 World Championships because 13 women broke 15, and it took 14:29 to medal.
So after her American record, Ellie ran 9:10, I believe, in the 2-mile at 2 weeks ago at the New Balance Indoor Grand Prix. Everyone's eyeing her. The pressure is on her to be the one to push the pace. We know that she's fit, and others are kind of trying to ride those coattails to their own personal best tonight. And she's a very fascinating story because she's from a very remote town in northern Vermont, just miles from
farm country, and it's like and she's big into milk. Her family's in the milk industry.
Her husband, the sheds she posts on
She's got
Instagram,
a great Instagram. Oh,
yeah, really good follow. And so, she then went and competed at the University of New Hampshire, another smaller school. And, when you're competing in both high school and college for smaller teams, you're not necessarily exposed to the same level of day in and day out competition that some of these athletes like Emma Coburn may have faced at Colorado with the likes of Jenny Simpson at practice. And so, for those of us who watch Ellie, especially later in her career, I remember watching her at the indoor national meet, I believe her senior year, and you see this bib from UNH. And I think for those of us who are paying attention, you really think, wow, there's so much potential there, and she's delivering on it.
Now, the other thing about Elle Purrier is, kind of like we've talked a little bit about, and there was the article on Let's Run not too long ago about seeing the top stars go head to head, like Donovan Brazier and Bryce Hoppel. One matchup I really want to see go head to head is Shelby Houlihan versus Elle Purrier soon.
I have a feeling that's going to happen soon enough. I think that the two best, both very strong, both 1500 and 5K runners. We were talking earlier about those. The changes that happen at the Olympic trials, because those were two athletes that we thought were maybe going to potentially double, and now it just got a lot more difficult with that double, and maybe things are trying to change. I'm sure their coaches are petitioning to have things mix up a little bit, but the best of the sport going against each other is obviously exciting for everyone. As we approach 1 mile to go, 10:30, 10:31. Chris, I didn't think that they were going to be this bunched up. Do you think they were maybe put off by the weather?
Yeah, that could definitely be it, where they hit the brakes a little bit. But I think we're starting to see a little bit of a move here. That's
Josette Norris,
wow.
the former Hoya, now training with the Reebok Boston Track Club down in Charlottesville, Virginia.
So another former Hoya in the mix. We were talking about Rachel Schneider earlier. Josette Norris, she's run 4:31 for the mile twice so far this indoor season. Her PR is 15:29 from the Sunset Tour in 2019.
Recently engaged to a name that many may know, Robbie Andrews. And the thing that I heard in my conversation with Robbie earlier this week is that she's fit. She's ready to go.
She's started to showcase a little bit of it at the meet out in Winston-Salem at Campbell City Invitational. So she's thrown herself in the mix here.
I think for an athlete like her to really be showing a fearlessness, coming up on the shoulder of Ellie, passing Emma Coburn, that shows that she has that confidence. She's doing something in workouts that is telling her she's ready to reach that next level. And she's not going to just wait for someone else to do the work as they hit 3 laps to go in 11:42.
Listen, as a Marquette alum, I might also be pulling for the Big East over here, where we've got Georgetown in the mix. We've got Villanova with Emily Lopari as well. Some of my favorite memories are watching Emily Lopari, kick and win those big wheels at the Penn Relays.
Also, a name that we have not mentioned is Sharon Lucchetti out of Dark Sky, the former Kansas Jayhawk.
2018 NCAA 10K champion.
The daily training partner with Kaladi. And so, when that person next to you that you're doing every single work with, you're in sync, step in every single workout. And if they're doing it, then you know that you're capable of doing it too. And there's a level of comfort that comes from being next to that familiar body.
This is a little bit surprising here by Josette Norris.
Unlike some of the other athletes in the field, I do believe Josette needs the time still. And so she's taking the responsibility. She's not going to let someone else take control of her own destiny here. As we spoke about earlier, it's not about winning tonight, although, personally, that's what I'm invested in. But for these athletes, it's about getting those times as she hits 800 meters to go in about take a very, very strong close.
And Wayne is moving.
Wayne looks good, but Ellie Purrier up front is controlling the race. You can see the coaches and agents on the infield yelling at their athletes, trying to get everything left out of them. With 200 meters to go, it's 14:38. Kaladi, 14:40, just 2 steps behind. Josette, 43. So they're all looking good for the Olympic trials qualifying time, but it's how far under can you get? Ellie Purrier is fully winding up the pace. She looks so comfortable. She's looking nowhere but in front of her. She's quickly rising to the occasion. The knees are bursting through. All arms, 15:04 with just a few meters left. She's within reach of that Olympic standard, and she gets it 15:08. So not necessarily the time that maybe we set out for at the beginning of the week, but given the conditions, minor adjustments were made, and still a very, very strong final 400, showing that, in my opinion, she has a lot of international potential in the 5K.
We'll wait for the results to populate onto screen after we get a couple more women across the finish